Teacher, UAE's biggest classroom.
Welcome back. We had a minor technical glitch. Sorry for the inconvenience. We were discussing the topic, do parents show favoritism among the children, and what are the disadvantages of that? Now, Sunana had asked me to cite some examples in which parents inadvertently, unknowingly show
ways they do it.
Exactly. So we had cited a few very relevant examples, so we're continuing that conversation. Another thing that usually happens, Sunana, in most households is there are some children who comply with all the rules of the parents, you know, the good child, you know, the mother or the father says sit there for half an hour, he'll sit there for half an hour, following all the rules and trying hard to please parents, and naturally parents tend to prefer to love them more and to shower them with more affection. It's understandable. Another thing is, maybe there's a child who follows the same hobbies as the parents. Let's say the dad is a keen cricket enthusiast, and you've got one child who follows Real Madrid and Barcelona. Dad doesn't understand anything about football, while the other child is a huge cricket fan, you know, a CSK fan. So naturally parents would spend time with the child. The issue is, and achievers. Suppose you've got two kids and one child is repeatedly coming from school carrying trophies and certificates, and he's the cynosure of all eyes, the pride of the community. Naturally parents tend to see, usually you see it, you know, I've seen some parents repeatedly put photographs of one particular child on social media. My darling, my sweetheart, my child.
Really?
I can personally vouch for examples, you know. So, and then you think, but this lady or this gentleman has got two other kids, so why are they not seen at all? So it's happening around. So Nana, what's sad is that parents who show favoritism tend to show it even when the kids are grown up, okay? And sometimes it tends to be worse as well, which can really drive animosity between the children, making it totally counterproductive. Some examples of parents showing favoritism even when the kids are grown up is they tend to prefer kids who stay closer. So suppose there is a child
for obvious reasons.
I'm not breaking it down and analyzing the root causes of it, but I'm just giving examples. You know, so you've got one child who's staying close by and another child probably staying far away in another country maybe. So naturally you tend to prefer the child staying close by. The child who's sharing the same values as you, like for example you're a very religious person, you go to your church or the masjid, the temple regularly, and there's one wayward child who doesn't do that, and there's one who complies, so naturally. And also parents who provide emotional and financial support to their children. I mean, children who provide emotional and financial support, parents tend to prefer them. So I've given you a long list of examples of how this is shown. So you might find certain aspects which resemble something that happened at home when you were young.
Instigating them against
or something that happened that is happening right now. So now I've got the poll results with me. So what do you think? The question was, did your parents show favoritism when you were children? So what do you think? How many would have said yes, or how many would have said no?
Maybe I don't think people would be very forthright and say yes, but since this is an anonymous poll, maybe
we've not asked them to put their photographs or log into Facebook.
So maybe 20/80.
I've got 27 responses of people saying yes. So I'll say yes, our parents showed favoritism. And 9 responses saying no. So definitely 1:3 times. So 3 times more people are saying yes, our parents showed favoritism. And
it's as though they really want to prove it.
Exactly. Now before coming back to you, Sunana, let me pose one more question. pollev.com/SIBA, that's the website. Are you guilty of showing favoritism? Okay, be honest, be frank, ask yourself, if you've got multiple kids, are you guilty of showing favoritism? Now, the question to you, Doctor, is what are the consequences of parental favoritism? Is this such a big deal that we should devote a whole hour? So what are the consequences?
Man, this was scary. When I was doing research for this particular question, it was really scary. Disfavored children, that's the term they've used in researches. Disfavored children, they have a higher chance of falling into depression, performing poorly academically, resorting to aggressive behavior.
Okay.
They show very poor self-esteem, and they have twice more likelihood of falling prey to alcoholism, smoking, and substance abuse. And in homes where this favoritism or this differentiation is perceived at a dramatical level by these kids, they have 3.5 times more chances of falling prey to substance abuse.
Oh my God, oh my God.
So look at that, it's scary, the figures were scary. And we think that this happens during childhood and then they'll forget it when they grow up. No, that's not the case. They carry it to their adulthood, and it even causes severe relationship problems for them with those who enter their lives at a later stage, with their spouses, with their kids as well. And then when we think, say, one child is favored over the other, this favored child gets all the advantages, no. Because it's not rosy for the rosy for the favored child, because he has to face a constant hostility and animosity from his siblings just because his parents prefer him over the others. And what we parents are doing is we are actually injecting poison into that sibling relationship, where there should be love and care and support for each other. There is hostility, animosity, and we are actually really injecting poison into it, and we are not aware of the consequences. It says, interestingly, I found that children who come from families where all of them are treated equally, more or less equally, they enjoy a better state of well-being than a child who is favored. So you see, the I think the negatives outweigh the positives in this case. So why are we doing this at all?
True, very true, very true,
yeah.
very true.
So Doctor, this just crossed my mind. Would there be any advantages for the favored child?
Before answering that question, Sunana, a couple of points that you raised, you know, which caught my attention. You said it's a perception of the children. Sometimes favoritism might not be blatantly happening, you know, but if a child feels that this is happening, then it's dangerous, you know, because it's your perception that controls all your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. This is an example we often use. You've got a system in your brain called the reticular activation system. So now if you feel something is happening, then your brain gets obsessed about it, and then you start noticing details which confirm, which sides with your belief.
Yes.
Okay, so if I feel that my parent is showing favoritism, and if that gets embedded within my brain, then I'll be subconsciously looking for evidence, you know. So sometimes my parent might be showing favoritism in my favor, but you don't notice it. You'll only notice the instances where the other sibling is preferred.
Right, you're like a horse with blinkers on. You see only this.
Exactly. And then, you know, every time an instance happens, then these feelings get fortified and the bad blood and the animosity gets worse, which could lead to severe behavioral problems. What was striking, Sunana, I thought the problem ended with sibling rivalry and maybe a little bit of animosity, but you're saying, you were talking about depression and you were talking about alcoholism. You know, dear parents, something that we subconsciously do, something that we take so lightly, can really wreck a person's life. And it's indeed happening. I'm sure you were quoting validated studies with data. See, every one of us, and there's one reason why this could be happening as well. You know, in transaction analysis, we talk about no strokes. Yeah, so when a child is not appreciated, when a child is not, and we dealt with it in the last episode as well, you know, they'll try to get feedback even by doing wrong things.
So that they get the attention that they crave.
Exactly, and even if it's negative attention, it's attention that they crave. So sometimes children get into alcoholism and start smoking, and maybe will neglect their studies, will get into trouble, will bully other people, just because they want to get attention from parents. You know, that they want parents to sit up and notice, and that satisfies a need within them. Now, so we parents really have to consider this, you know, and definitely look into what's happening at home.
Right.
If I may,
child.
yeah, if I may answer your question. So Nana's question was any advantages for the favorite
Or is
child?
it more disadvantages for him?
Exactly. Advantages and disadvantages. What is proven is that the favored child grows up with a lot of self-esteem, and I'm sure you can understand that, you know, because he's given the impression that he's better than someone else. Parents are showering the love and affection on him.
I'm better than all my siblings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he tends to believe that, you know, there's something in me, which adds to self-esteem, and that self-esteem definitely helps the child. He believes that I can do stuff, I'm powerful, I'm strong, I can get my things done, and he is getting his things done at home. Now, there's an interesting study that says out of all the American presidents that we've had, barring 2, except for 2, all the other kids were favorite children. Yeah. So.
So you mean to say that we need to show
No. Of course, I didn't mean that. But there are a lot of other kids who never made it to the level of the president, you know, and they were not given a fair chance. So, see, let's go back to our core values. We have to be fair, and in the long run, being unfair will never yield positive results. If I may talk about the negative effects, or how favoring a child puts him at a disadvantage. So Nana, 2 or 3 issues. You know, they might succeed at work, they might succeed technically, they might be ambitious, they might have self-confidence, but they really mess their relationships up. If you look at marital problems, most of the marital problems are seen when you have a favored child getting into a relationship. And I think it's easy to understand, you know, because this child is so used to getting all the love and affection from his parents. So naturally he wants to be the center of attention or the center of attraction, and, you know, the cynosure of all eyes. So when he gets into a relationship, let's say with his wife, he's definitely going to compare, you know, this lady is not loving me as much as my parents loved me, you know. I'm not invincible here, you know. So this mismatch in the expectation can create a lot of problems in the family.
This is similar to the single child syndrome?
Very similar. It's almost like the single child, you know. Yeah, but a single child doesn't compare him with somebody else. A favored child is even worse, because he thinks there are people around me, but still I'm better, you know. So and it can lead to worse problems. Another issue that we have definitely seen is, you know, these children. I can give you an example. When one child sees that the parents are disapproving something with the other child has done, he'll automatically try to stay away, you know, because he wants to be favored. He wants to please his parents, to say the exact word. Now, because he's constantly trying to please his parents, his personality doesn't really develop. Okay, he doesn't express his real likes and dislikes, his needs and what he abhors. Will my parent like this? Okay, I'll endorse that. Will my parent not like this? I'll stay away from that. He tries to be compliant so that he gets favors done. You know? So the personality never develops, and the person ends up being confused subconsciously.
Always trying to please the superior authority.
Exactly, and that might true. That might lead the person to trouble. It's time for us to take a break, but before we take a break, let me share the results of the other poll. Are you guilty of showing favoritism? You know, we've got 17 responses from people. 17 of them are saying yes. This is interesting. People are being very truthful. 17 of them are saying yes, and we only have 3 responses that says no. Okay, so we'll continue this amazing conversation and discussion on the topic. Are parents showing favoritism, and what are the long-lasting implications, the negative implications of that? Time to take a short break. We'll be back. Don't go away.
My Teacher,